You are watching The Book Club. Every Wednesday, we handpick the best books to improve your life. The 15 best books on dystopian futures. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. If you're not subscribed yet, you're missing out. Hello Aluxers, welcome back. So good to have you here with us for another original video brought to you by our team here at Alux.com. Today we're presenting you with a set of books that talk about a variation of a future for humanity, for a country, or a single city. There's something pretty intriguing that draws you in when reading about oppressive government regimes or a giant brain telepathically controlling an entire civilization. It lights up a fire in our souls and imaginations. Having citizens rebel against the status quo offers faith for the future, even if rebellion fails. A dystopia is defined as a community or a society that's dehumanizing, unpleasant, and damn near frightening. For those of you who've never heard of dystopian novels or have yet to read one, hey Luxers, we've got you covered. Get yourself ready because these are the best of the best books on dystopian futures that are on the market today. Here we go. Number 1. 1984 by George Orwell. Okay, how many of you immediately thought of this one when you saw the title? 1984 is one of the best-known dystopian novels of all time, even though the year came and went without Orwell's vision coming true. It did, however, give us many terms which are now commonplace in our modern world. The author's terrifying vision of a totalitarian future where everything and everyone is a slave to a tyrannical regime led by the party is one which anxiously we recognize as more truth than when it was published back in 1949 or when it was supposed to be fact. The world is seemingly more Orwellian by the day, with the NSA, the war on terror, the rise of fake news being taken as fact, and it's all the more terrifying than an alien invasion, nuclear war, or the impending climate crisis. For those of you who haven't yet, head to Amazon and purchase it. It's only $7.91. Or get the audio version for free thanks to our friends at Audible, just by going to alux.com/freebook and signing up for the first time. Number 2. A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. This book spawns an unforgettable, vivid story about a nightmarish future infested with violent gangs, extreme youthful violence, and the painstaking work of the authorities to try and restore order. This massively popular dark novel tells the story of 15-year-old Alux and his gang of friends who rob, kill, and rape their way through life until the state puts a brake on his excesses of violence. Number 3. Swipe by Evan Angler. In this book, in a not-so-far-off future, the US accepts a charismatic leader that implements a system where everyone has to get a tattoo with a barcode at the ripe age of 13 years old, which grants its bearers the rights of citizenship. But there are those who refuse to get it done, and even though it's their right to refuse the barcode, sooner or later they all disappear. This apocalyptic dystopian fiction reveals the story of 13-year-old Logan, who feels a heap of dread as the day to get his own tattoo approaches, because his sister disappeared on the day she had to get her citizenship mark. And before the pivotal day arrives, Logan wants to learn the truth behind his sister's disappearance. It's a 4-series tale with a lot of twists, turns, and jaw-dropping moments that'll keep you glued to its pages for quite a while. Number 4. The Sheep Look Up by John Brunner. With all the problems the world is facing today, with climate change, overpopulation, pollution, mass extinction of animals, insects, and plants, it's hard not to be a little skeptical about the future. However, Brunner takes everything to the next level and creates a dystopian future that could possibly be an option if nothing is done. The Sheep Look Up presents a future where environmental destruction has run rampant. Birth defects, diseases, and air pollution are so pervasive that people have to wear gas masks to even breathe and are forced to drink noxious, unsafe water. Overpopulation and a lack of access to education has led to corrupt governments across the world, while violent eco-terrorists wreak havoc across the globe. Considering this book was written in 1972, it's actually a little scary of how accurately it describes the potential future that awaits us. Number 5. The City of Ember by Jean Duprow. This author creates a dystopian society that, unlike most books in the genre, strives to be an ideal, something close to a utopia, but it goes to extreme lengths to maintain its control over its people, which, contrary to their intentions, becomes a dystopia. But their little society is threatened with eternal darkness, and it's up to 2 kids to save everyone and restore balance, which turns the whole plot into a frantic search for a solution. It's a pretty captivating story, and fair warning to you, you should have all 3 books on your shelf when you start reading because the cliffhangers will wreck your nerves. Number 6. The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. Anyone ready for a story set in an extremist, theocratic, law-ruled society? Yes? Great, because Margaret Atwood has done a terrific job of giving us a worldly dystopian vision of the future that is based on gender discrimination. In a post-nuclear world plagued by infertility, women are forbidden from reading, and the few who are capable of having children are subjugated and forced into servitude for the wider needs of society by becoming an incubator. Number 7. Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. Fast forward to 2025 and Los Angeles descends into a state of violent anarchy. The story follows Lauren Olamina, who's lived in a nice, quiet neighborhood, but her world has been thrown into chaos because of her ability to feel everyone else's pain intensely. Now she has to make her voice heard in order to protect her loved ones from the imminent disasters her community so blatantly ignores. Parable of the Sower is uncomfortably familiar in many ways to our present, and reading it can shed light on how empathy can save and doom us in today's world. Number 8. Blindness by Jose Saramago. In this tale, Saramago talks about a mysterious white plague that sweeps through a city, leaving everyone to go blind except one woman who's been affected by blindness prior to this puzzling phenomenon and takes on the responsibility of guiding 7 strangers through the harrowing, nightmarish, barren streets of the city. This is a fantastic parable of loss and disorientation that evokes man's worst appetites and weaknesses and has swept the public in an unforgettable way, winning Saramago the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1998. Number 9. We by Evgeny Zamyatin. Written about a century ago, Zamyatin's dystopian vision of human nature under the rule of cold, hard logic resonates with today's public even more than it did back in the Soviet Union. In We's world, people are no longer given names but IDs and are kept under constant surveillance. Even with the attempt to strip people of their humanity, they're still able to feel love, fear, and have hope that their society, which is teetering on the edge of dystopia, might pull itself back to safety somehow. This is a novel that heavily influenced 1984 and others like it, which we strongly recommend you read if you want to learn some more about the vision of the Russian author. You can get the book by going to the link in the description, or by going to Alux.com/freebook and signing up for the first time. You'll be given access immediately to listen to it and download the novel, all thanks to the great people at Audible. Number 10. Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. Set in a version of the 1990s England, the plot revolves around a state-run cloning program designed to continue the lives of citizens through organ donation. Ishiguro masterfully weaves together a dystopian premise into the literary meditation on morality that withholds the fates of his characters until you're deeply invested in them, raising questions about friendship and what makes us who we are along the way. If this Japanese-British novelist caught your interest with his works of literary art, you can find out some more about his home and what makes it so incredible by watching our video, 15 Facts That Prove Japan is Not Like Any Other Country. Number 11. Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. This author takes the reader into a post-apocalyptic, far-off future which revolves around 6 nested stories. Each story is cleverly told by the main character of the next, creating a sense of continuity and escalating events as the action progresses, almost like a magic trick. The most riveting part of this book is the systematic implication that the dystopian future has already been set in motion by the events of the present and the past. Number 12. The Stand by Stephen King. The ever-popular Stephen King has created a fictional premise where most of humanity has been wiped out by a deadly plague, plunging the globe into pandemonium. King's masterful storytelling ability will keep you guessing every step of the way throughout this compelling thriller that shines a light on the never-ending battle between good and evil. Number 13. The Windup Girl by Paolo Bacigalupi. This modern dystopian classic is set in Thailand and describes a world where calamities are a regular occurrence. Similar to our world today, where climate change is affecting everything and mega corporations control everything, the Windup Girl is a very plausible variant of the future of our world, along with biotechnology being an indispensable factor in the lives of people. The story is centered around Emiko, a beautiful girl who's bred to cater to the whims of the rich and those who control every aspect of people's lives. Number 14. Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Okay, book lovers, prepare for an especially horrible dystopian novel. Back when the Nazis started taking over the 1930s, they were burning books, a lot of them in order to subdue any ideology opposing them. But in reality, they just wanted to subdue free thinking so they could rule forever. Fahrenheit 451 is pretty similar to the Nazi story in terms that in the near future, the ruling power burns all the books and forbids intellectual thinking. Books are considered to be the root of all discord and unhappiness, therefore they are all being burnt to a crisp. However, when the man in charge of burning the books, Guy Montag, which turns out to be a fireman and our main character, starts to doubt these affirmations, everything takes an unexpected turn. Number 15. The Giver by Lois Lowry. Almost 3 decades after its first initial publication, The Giver is still as relevant and provocative as ever. In a society where pain, suffering, and discord have been cured by adopting sameness, color, music, individuality, and privacy all took the same path. It's a world that runs on conformity and contentment at the price of emotion. But everything stands to change for the next receiver of memories of the world, before sameness, before this supposed utopia that has given up the very things that make us humans who we are. And Aluxers, that's a wrap. While some of these are plausible variants of the future we could face, most of these are just for your entertainment or education and should be treated as such. Now before we let you go, Aluxers, tell us, we're curious. Let's say the world is heading for a dystopia. How does that look for you? Let us know in the comments because we're really curious to see what your thoughts are on dystopias. And of course, for sticking with us until the end, what could that mean, my friends? Of course, you get a bonus book. Here you go. Number 16. The Hunger Games Trilogy by Suzanne Collins. Ah, The Hunger Games. Who doesn't love to read a book about a dystopian world in which desperate people fight to the death for food and rewards in a barbaric and brutal tournament for the entertainment of the ruling class? Hunger Games is a disturbing dystopian vision of our world, which some would argue already exists in one form or another. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxer. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. If you want more, we handpicked these videos you might enjoy, or head over to Alux.com for the best in fine living content on the planet. Be a part of the largest community of luxury enthusiasts in the world and tell your story.